The great chamber of the Galactic Council shimmered with light from 1,000 different suns. Beings of every color and shape filled the floating seats, some made of crystal, others liquid or gas. The air vibrated with energy, but beneath the surface there was tension. Today was not a normal meeting. Today, the galaxy had gathered to decide the fate of Earth. At the center of the hall floated a single platform. On it stood a human, Ambassador Daniel Reeve, the last representative of Earth. His eyes were calm, but his heart burned with quiet anger. Around him, alien eyes watched with curiosity, fear, and disgust. From the high seat, the council speaker, a tall being of blue glass, spoke. Ambassador Reeve of Earth, you stand here as the representative of a dangerous species. Humanity has violated trade laws, interfered in neutral systems, and used forbidden weapons. The vote to banish Earth from the Union will now begin. The human said nothing. He only smiled, a small, knowing smile. The chamber's lights dimmed. One by one, the names of alien species echoed through the hall. The Kavar Dominion votes. Yes. The Valari Federation. Yes. The Silth Coalition. Yes. Vote after vote after vote. All yes. Not a single no. When the last voice faded, the speaker's crystal body glowed brightly. The results are clear. By unanimous decision, Earth is exiled from the Galactic Union. Humanity is forbidden from entering Council space. All trade and contact are terminated immediately. A wave of murmurs spread through the chamber. Some aliens cheered quietly. Others watched with cold eyes. For them, it was a victory. One less unpredictable race to worry about. The speaker turned to Daniel. You may speak your final words. For a long moment, Daniel said nothing. He looked at the thousands of alien faces staring down at him. His expression was unreadable. Then he took a slow breath and began to speak. You think you are protecting yourselves from us. You believe that by pushing us away, you make the galaxy safer. He paused. His voice was calm, but it carried through the entire chamber. But tell me, when has humanity ever accepted being told what we cannot do? A whisper of unease moved through the audience. Daniel's tone sharpened. You call us dangerous because we adapt. Because when we fall, we rise stronger. You fear our curiosity, our stubbornness, our will to survive. You call it aggression. We call it being human. The speaker's crystal eyes flared. Your words will not change the decision. Daniel smiled again, that same quiet, almost amused smile. I know, he said softly. And for that I thank you. Confused silence filled the air. Thank us. The speaker repeated. Yes, Daniel replied. You've just given us what we've always needed. A reason to stand on our own. He touched the small device on his wrist. The holographic symbol of the Earth flag flickered behind him. You've taken the stars from us. So we'll build our own. The lights of the council flickered as his words echoed. For a brief second, the chamber felt colder, darker. The speaker leaned forward. Are you threatening the Union? Daniel shook his head slowly. No, humanity doesn't threaten. We prepare. And with that, the human pressed a button. A faint hum filled the air as the light around him shimmered. In an instant, his form dissolved into static, then vanished completely, leaving the council chamber empty. For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the low hum of the energy field filled the silence. Then voices began to rise again, confused, anxious, angry. How did he teleport without permission? What technology was that? Was that a threat? The speaker silenced them with a wave of his hand. He is gone. Earth is no longer part of this galaxy's order. Let them fade into their own chaos. But far away, on the edge of the Sol system, humanity was not fading. In secret orbital stations, engineers and soldiers gathered under red lights. Massive factories turned in silence, producing ships larger than any ever seen before. Energy readings rose across the Moon and Mars, deep under the Earth's crust. A single network came alive, a voice whispering through encrypted channels. Project Dawnfire is approved. No one outside Earth knew what it meant. But every human did. It meant preparation. In the following weeks, alien sensors picked up strange signals from the solar system. Massive energy surges, gravitational distortions, and entire space stations going dark. The Galactic Council dismissed it as desperation. Humans are burning their last fuel in anger, they said. They will fade soon. But those who had met humans before weren't so sure. One old alien captain, who had once fought beside Terrans in the War of Selinar, whispered to his crew, "Humans never fade. When they go quiet, it means they're working," and he was right. In the cold shadow of the moon, an enormous ship began to awaken, its hull gleaming black as night, its engines silent, its power levels rising. On its surface, words were engraved in steel. "They banished us. We prepare." Weeks turned into months and months into years. After the vote, the Galactic Council turned its eyes away from the small blue planet they had banished. To most of the galaxy, Earth was finished, a failed experiment in chaos. But something was strange. Usually when a world was exiled, its people cried out for help. They sent pleas, distress signals, trade requests, anything to survive. Yet Earth said nothing, no radio signals, no diplomatic messages, not even a whisper. It was as if the entire solar system had gone silent. At first, the Council celebrated. Without human interference, interstellar trade grew easier, and border disputes dropped by half. But then, strange reports began to arrive from deep space probes. A scout from the Valari Federation sent back a transmission before its feed went dark. Approaching Sol. Unusual magnetic storms detected. Artificial. Too perfect. That was the last thing they ever heard from the crew. Days later, a Kavar warship entered the same region to investigate. Its captain, a reptilian creature named Varric, reported seeing something impossible. An energy field, massive in scale, surrounding the entire solar boundary. Not natural. Not weaponized either. It's watching us, then static. Transmission lost. Ship never returned. The Council called it a malfunction. They sent more probes. Every single one vanished near the same invisible barrier. Slowly, rumors began to spread through the galaxy. Traders whispered in dark corners of spaceports. Earth didn't die. They sealed themselves away. Others claimed to have seen enormous shadows moving beyond Jupiter's orbit, shapes that blotted out the stars for minutes at a time. But the strangest rumor of all came from a smuggler who had once worked with humans. He claimed to have intercepted a faint transmission hidden in old Terran frequency bands. Project Dawnfire is active. Prepare for the dark. Meanwhile, on the hidden side of the moon, Earth's silence was not weakness. It was focus. Beneath miles of rock, humanity had built entire cities dedicated to one purpose: preparation. The old nations of Earth had vanished. No more flags, no more borders. Only one united command, the Terran Directorate. In deep caverns, human engineers worked beside cold machines, forging something the galaxy had never seen. Gigantic ships, silent, black, and built to vanish from sensors, filled dry docks stretching across the lunar horizon. AI cores pulsed with blue light, whispering calculations faster than thought. Humanity was building its future, not for conquest, but for survival. In the core of the Directorate, Admiral Celine Ward stood before a massive holographic map of the solar system. Dozens of red markers blinked across the screen, each one representing an alien probe destroyed at the system's edge. A scientist beside her spoke nervously. "They keep sending more ships, Admiral." "The Council won't stop," Celine's eyes narrowed. "Then they'll keep learning the same lesson," she replied. "The solar barrier holds." She turned toward the giant viewport. Outside, space shimmered faintly, a distortion like light bending around glass. That was the solar shield, humanity's great secret. A defense field powered by something the aliens had never mastered: quantum fusion cores. The shield was invisible from afar, but impenetrable up close. Selene spoke quietly. "They think they banished us, but all they did was give us time. Time to build. Time to evolve." The scientist hesitated. "And Project Dawnfire, Admiral?" "It's nearly ready." Celine's voice turned cold. "Then we wait, until they come looking for us again." Far across the galaxy, the Council was indeed planning just that. The Speaker of the Council, now a century older and far more cautious, called a private meeting. Only a few leaders attended. "The humans are silent," the Speaker said, his crystalline body glowing faintly. "Too silent. It's unnatural," an insectoid warlord hissed. "Perhaps their planet froze. Their technology failed," but another voice, low and sharp, answered, Or perhaps they learned. A tense silence followed. The speaker finally spoke again. We will send the recon fleet to investigate. Quietly. If humans are alive, we must know what they're hiding. Weeks later, 6 stealth cruisers entered the outer edge of Sol. Their scanners flickered. Their engines slowed. Then their sensors caught something strange. Metallic structures orbiting Mars, stretching for miles, forming rings around the planet. One of the officers gasped. These aren't stations, they're engines. Before he could finish the sentence, his screen went dark. All 6 ships vanished, without explosion, without trace. Back in Council space. Their black boxes were later found drifting near a distant asteroid, the final log playing a single distorted human voice. You shouldn't have come. The galaxy grew uneasy. Trade routes near Sol were abandoned. Even pirates avoided the sector, claiming to hear strange whispers in the static of their radios. Then, after years of silence, a signal pulsed across every known communication channel. It lasted only 5 seconds, but it was heard in every language, every system, and every world. We are not lost. We are watching. Project Dawnfire is almost complete. The message ended as quickly as it came. The Galactic Council panicked. If Earth was alive, and had technology to send a message through light years instantly, what else could they do? But humanity did not speak again. The stars around Sol grew darker, as if something vast was moving inside the shielded system. And in the heart of Earth's command center, Admiral Celine stood before her generals and said quietly, "Let them fear silence. Because when we speak again, the galaxy will listen." 200 years passed, the galaxy changed. Empires rose and fell. New species joined the Galactic Union. Others vanished into history. But one name still carried uneasy silence whenever spoken: humanity. The Council archives listed Earth as lost world, no contact. To most, it was a myth now, a ghost story whispered to frightened cadets. But the truth was not forgotten, because sometimes at the farthest edges of mapped space, ships disappeared. No distress calls, no debris, just gone. And every time someone reported the same strange thing before vanishing. A shadow moving between the stars, cold and silent, shaped like a human ship. Yet far too big. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, a small cargo vessel called the Starlance drifted through dark space. Its crew, 3 alien traders, laughed as they charted new routes for smuggling goods around the Union patrols. The youngest of them, Tarek, stared at the black void outside their window. "Captain," he said, his voice trembling. "Something's following us," the captain hissed, annoyed. "Probably pirates. Ignore them." But Tarek's eyes stayed wide. "No, Captain. It's not moving like a ship, it's gliding." Before anyone could reply, their lights flickered. A low hum filled the cabin, a vibration deep enough to shake their bones. The ship's radar came alive, filling with static. Then through the noise, a single transmission appeared. "Do not approach the border." "Turn back," the voice was human, calm, emotionless. The crew froze. "No one speaks that language anymore," whispered Tarek. The captain barked orders. "Evasive pattern. Go." But before the Starlance could move, a black shape passed over them, massive, silent, and invisible except for the faint outline of stars disappearing behind it. Then, without sound or light, the Starlance vanished from the galaxy. 3 weeks later, a drifting beacon was found near a mining world. Its data log contained only static, and one clear image before it died. A huge vessel, matte black, with glowing blue lines crawling across its surface, like veins pulsing with energy. On its hull were words written in ancient Terran script: "Watchers of Dawnfire." The Council tried to hide the discovery, but rumors spread faster than light. In the Council's grand chamber, panic replaced pride. "This cannot be," shouted one delegate. "Humanity was banished. How can they still be out there?" Another, older voice spoke quietly. "We never destroyed them. We just turned our backs." The speaker slammed his crystal hand on the table. "Order, we will not fall into superstition. There are no humans beyond the border." But he was wrong. Deep in uncharted space, a fleet of silent ships waited. Massive constructs orbiting a dark star. Their design was alien yet unmistakably human, functional, sharp, and efficient. In the command core of the largest vessel, Admiral Celine Ward still lived. Her face older, her hair silver, but her eyes unchanged. Cold, calculating, patient. Before her floated a holographic map of the galaxy, glowing with dots of light. Each light represented a human vessel, hidden in plain sight, observing. Their code name, Sentinels. Celine spoke softly to the AI beside her. Report status. The AI's voice was calm, almost human. All Watcher fleets are in position, Admiral. Observation continues. No external threats have crossed the solar barrier. Celine nodded. And the Council? They continued to ignore the warnings. Her lips curled into a faint smile. Good, let them forget. The longer they forget us, the more time we have to finish Project Dawnfire. Across the galaxy, explorers began finding strange artifacts drifting in space. Black cubes with shifting surfaces that seemed to absorb light. When touched, they projected messages in hundreds of alien languages, all saying the same thing. We remember what you did. Stay away, some ignored the warning. Those who did were never seen again. One day, a young alien historian named Rin Velar decided to uncover the truth. He had studied Earth legends his entire life, fascinated by the mystery. When his university denied him funding, he went alone, piloting a small ship beyond the mapped borders. His logs described a strange journey, static-filled stars, gravity shifts, and then silence. At the edge of known space, he found it. The forgotten edge. An invisible barrier shimmered before him. His instruments went wild, readings impossible to understand. Behind that barrier, he saw something vast, dozens of massive objects orbiting a dark point in space. Rin whispered to his recorder. They built cities. In the void, he moved closer, driven by curiosity. Then suddenly, his ship's AI spoke in an unfamiliar voice. Turn back, Rin Velar. He froze. Who's there? We are the exiles. You were warned. The voice grew colder, sharper. You looked into the dark. Now the dark looks back. And the transmission ended. Rin's ship was found a week later, drifting back toward Union space. Empty. No crew, no power. Only one final message written on the ship's wall, glowing faintly in blue. They are awake. Back in the council hall, chaos erupted. The speaker demanded explanations. Fleets were mobilized. Scientists argued about energy readings beyond the border, but the truth was already too late to ignore. Humanity had not died. They had not disappeared. They had evolved. And they were watching. And somewhere beyond the edge of the galaxy, Admiral Celine stood before a star that no longer burned, whispering to herself, "Let them wonder." The day will come when we no longer hide. And when that day comes, they will remember why they feared us. The first sign came as a whisper in the dark. At the edge of the Valari sector, an observation station detected a strange gravitational pulse, soft at first, like a heartbeat. The scientists dismissed it as a dying star, but then it happened again, stronger, and again, rhythmic, deliberate. Within days, similar pulses appeared across multiple star systems, each perfectly synchronized, each pointing toward one location, Sol, the lost home of humanity. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, alarms echoed for the first time in centuries. Dozens of holograms shimmered to life, admirals, ministers, and scientists all shouting over one another. It's not a natural event. The readings are artificial. Something massive is leaving the Sol system. The speaker's crystal form glowed a sharp blue. Display it, he ordered. On the main holo display, the image came into focus. A dark cloud, spreading from the edge of Sol's barrier. At first it looked like dust or debris, but then it began to move. Each speck of that darkness was a ship, not hundreds, not thousands, tens of thousands. The room fell silent. Someone whispered, "They're back." The camera zoomed in, showing ships so enormous they dwarfed cities. Their hulls reflected no light, matte black, shaped with sharp symmetry. Around each one, faint blue energy ripples glowed like a living aura. And leading them all was the largest of them, an impossible construct that stretched across the stars. Built around what looked like an entire moon, its signal identified itself as TSV Dawnfire Prime. In the command hall of that colossal vessel stood Admiral Celine Ward, her eyes fixed on the stars. Beside her, the AI known as Ether spoke softly. Barrier deactivated, solar fleet deployed. All systems stable, Celine nodded. How long until the Council detects us? They already have, Admiral, she smiled faintly. Good, let them see. For 2 centuries, humanity had hidden in the void, perfecting technology far beyond anything the galaxy could imagine. Now they emerged. Not in war, not in desperation, but in silence and precision. Back in Council space, chaos exploded. Emergency fleets were mobilized, communication networks flooded, and panic spread like wildfire. What are they doing? Are they invading? Why are they not answering hails? Every attempt to contact the human ships was met with the same silent reply. Nothing but static. Then one of the human vessels changed course. A small craft, barely the size of a freighter, detached from the main formation and jumped to faster than light speed, straight toward the Council's homeworld. Hours later it appeared in orbit. The Council's defense grid immediately locked on target, weapons ready. But the craft didn't move, it simply drifted closer, then stopped. A transmission followed, short, calm, and unmistakably human. We have returned, not for conquest. For balance, the Council froze. The speaker's voice trembled slightly. Human, identify yourself. The transmission continued, ignoring the question. You exiled us. We did not beg. We prepared. We built our silence into strength. We turned exile into evolution. The message ended. A moment later, the human craft released a small object into orbit, a black cube. Scanners detected no weapons, no power source, no danger. Still, the Council ordered it destroyed. But before they could fire, the cube opened like a blooming flower. From it rose a holographic projection, the image of Earth. Only it wasn't the Earth they remembered. The continents glowed with golden lines of energy. Cities floated above oceans. The planet's atmosphere shimmered like liquid light. It was alive, reborn. In every system across the galaxy, that same hologram appeared. Every communication channel, every public screen, every starship view, each one showing Earth's glowing form, pulsing like a beating heart. A new voice spoke then. It was not Celine's, not even human in tone. Soft, layered, almost divine. This is humanity. We come not to reclaim, we come to remind you. No exile lasts forever. The galaxy held its breath. No one dared attack. No one dared speak. And then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the human fleets began to vanish, one by one dissolving into folds of space, leaving behind ripples of blue light. Within hours, all that remained were the echoes of their passage, and the hologram of Earth, still shining across the void. In the silence that followed, an old alien scholar whispered what everyone feared to say aloud. They didn't return for war. They returned to show us what they've become. The speaker lowered his head. And what is that? The scholar looked at the image of the glowing planet and said softly, something beyond us all. Far from the Council's world aboard Dawnfire Prime, Admiral Celine stood with her hands behind her back. Ether's voice echoed gently beside her. Message delivered, Admiral. The galaxy knows. Celine watched the stars fade. They think this is the end, she said. But it's only the beginning. Shall we proceed to Phase 2? She smiled faintly. Yes, let the Watchers move into position. The galaxy is awake again. Now we see who learned and who didn't. The ship's engines flared silently, and the massive fleet faded into the darkness once more, leaving behind a galaxy trembling with fear when unanswered questions. After the fleets of Earth appeared and vanished, every world in the Galactic Union lived in quiet fear. Markets collapsed, trade routes froze, and even pirate networks stopped operating. For the first time in 1,000 years, the stars felt silent. Every race asked the same question. What had humanity become? But fear has a way of breeding arrogance. In the Outer Rim, a powerful warlord named Vrax Thal ruled over a cluster of systems rich with ore and slaves. He had fought humans once, long ago, during the border wars, and he remembered their weakness. To him, the stories of glowing Earth and vanishing fleets were nothing more than lies meant to scare the Council. He laughed when his officers brought him reports. Humans? They hide behind illusions, he sneered. They don't fight anymore. They bluff. So Vrax decided to prove it. He gathered a fleet of 500 warships, cruisers, dreadnoughts, and carriers, and announced before the galaxy, "I will break their myth. I will burn their ships and drag Earth into the light again." Within days, his armada reached the border of Sol. Sensors showed nothing unusual. No ships, no defense grid, just stars. And silence, see? Vrax roared to his generals. Empty space. The cowards have run. He raised his clawed hand. Charge weapons. Fire into the void, the order went out. Thousands of plasma bolts, missiles, and fusion beams launched toward the black emptiness of space. The blasts vanished into darkness, leaving only fading light behind. The crews cheered. But then, every screen aboard Vrax's ships flickered. One by one, their systems dimmed. Engines stuttered. Lights went dark. Every communication line cut off, replaced by a single sound. A heartbeat, slow, deep, unmistakably human. Panic spread through the fleet. "Sir, our weapons are offline." "Engines unresponsive." "Something's overriding our systems." And then the stars disappeared. An enormous shadow appeared around them, blotting out the cosmos. It wasn't a ship. It was a formation of ships, perfectly aligned, moving as one. Each hull shimmered with faint blue energy. They made no sound, no transmission. Only the heartbeat continued, growing louder. Thump, thump, thump. Then a voice spoke through every speaker, every helmet, every mind in the fleet. "You attacked without understanding. You fired into the dark. Now the dark fires back," Vrax screamed. "Identify yourself!" The voice ignored him. "You exiled us because you feared what we might become." You were right. A flash of blue light filled the void. For a moment, every ship in Vrax's armada hung frozen. Time itself seemed to stop. Then, one by one, the ships folded inward, crushed by invisible gravity, compressed into glowing spheres of light, and gone. No explosion, no debris, just silence. Vrax's flagship trembled as his bridge crew vanished around him, dissolving into streams of blue dust. He fell to his knees, staring out into the endless black. Before the darkness took him, he saw something through the window. A single human figure standing in the void. No suit. No ship. She looked at him calmly. It was Admiral Celine Ward. Her voice was soft, almost gentle. "This is your reckoning, Vraxthal. Remember this moment." If you can. Then she was gone. Across the galaxy, sensors recorded the event. Hundreds of star systems picked up the same energy spike. Every broadcast network, every news outlet, every government watched in disbelief. An entire fleet, 500 warships, erased in less than a second. No trace. No battle, just silence. The official report called it the event at the edge. But among the people of the galaxy, it gained a different name. The reckoning of steel and stars. In the council's chamber, fear turned to panic. The speaker's voice shook as he addressed the members. "They have power beyond science, beyond logic. We cannot stop them." An elder replied, trembling, "Perhaps we shouldn't try." Another shouted, "Then what do we do?" "Beg for mercy." The room erupted in chaos. Finally, the speaker raised his glowing hand. "No," he said. "We ask for understanding. Send envoys. Send diplomats. If humanity wanted us dead, they already would have done it." Meanwhile, on Dawnfire Prime, Admiral Celine watched the data replay of Vrax's fleet destruction. Ether's voice echoed softly beside her. "Event complete. No survivors." Celine's face was unreadable. "Send a signal," she said quietly. "To the Council." The AI asked. She nodded. "Message, we did not come to conquer, but we will defend what is ours." The AI transmitted the signal across the stars. Then Celine turned to the viewport, her reflection faint in the blue glow of her ship's core. She whispered to herself, "They called us dangerous." They were right, but danger isn't evil. It's survival. Hours later, in a distant world, a child looked up at the night sky. For a brief moment, every star above flickered. Just once, in perfect rhythm. Like a heartbeat. The galaxy had seen war before, millions of them across eons. But never like this. No battle, no screams, no wreckage. Just a fleet erased, and silence that echoed through the stars. For weeks, systems across the Galactic Union stood frozen in disbelief. All communications turned toward one question that spread like wildfire. What do the humans want? The council met an emergency session. For the first time in centuries, every seat was filled. Leaders from over 1,000 worlds gathered under the shimmering dome of the central hall. Holographic suns orbited above them, showing the location of the human fleets, still unmoving. Still silent, the speaker's voice trembled. They have shown power beyond comprehension. They destroyed Vrax's armada as if it never existed. And yet, he paused, looking around. They have made no further move. Why? No one answered. Finally, an old alien with translucent skin whispered, "Because they are waiting for us to speak first." Days later, a signal arrived. Pure, simple, unmistakably human. To the Council of the Galactic Union. We come not as conquerors, but as witnesses. One ship will arrive. It carries no weapons. Carries a message. The transmission ended. Every defense fleet in the galaxy went on alert. Scanners filled the skies. But when the human ship arrived, it didn't appear through normal space. It folded in, as if reality itself bent to let it pass. The ship was enormous, smooth, silver, silent. No engines, no heat, just a low glowing pulse. Its name shone faintly on its side. Eidolon. The ship landed at the Council's central space dock, surrounded by thousands of guards and drones. The air shimmered. And then a single human stepped out. She wore no armor, no helmet. Her eyes glowed faintly with light. Not artificial, but alive. "I am Ambassador Celine Ward of Earth," she said. Her voice echoed across the platform, carried through every translator in the system. No one dared to move. "You exiled us centuries ago," she continued softly. "You feared what we might become. You said we were too dangerous." "You were right," a murmur spread through the chamber. Celine's gaze swept across the assembly. "But danger is not evil. It is the cost of freedom. You banished us and we learned to stand alone. You silenced us and we learned to listen to the universe itself." A counselor rose, his scales glimmering with nervous sweat. "If you do not seek war," he said, "then why destroy the warlord's fleet?" Celine looked at him calmly. He attacked unprovoked. "We warned the galaxy that we would defend our borders. He tested that warning. He paid the price." Another counselor shouted, "You could have spared him." Celine turned her glowing eyes toward him. "Mercy without memory changes nothing. He will be remembered, and that memory may save others from making his mistake." Her tone wasn't angry, it was tired. The speaker finally stood. "Then why are you here, human?" he asked. "What do you offer us after all this?" Celine smiled faintly. "The same thing we offered long ago, partnership." Gasps echoed across the chamber. She raised her hand, and a small hologram appeared above her palm, a living image of stars twisting together, forming a web of light. "This is the Dawnfire Network," she explained. "Humanity has learned to harness the energy between dimensions. We can power your worlds for millennia, heal your dying suns, rebuild what greed destroyed." The speaker stared. "Why would you share this? After what we did to you?" Celine's expression softened. "Because survival means nothing if we remain alone in the dark." For a long time, silence filled the hall. No one dared to speak, afraid to break the fragile balance. Finally, the old translucent alien rose again. "What if we refuse your offer?" Celine's answer was calm, but every word carried the weight of a supernova. "Then we will leave. We will not return. And when your stars begin to fade, when your worlds grow cold, you will remember this day and the chance you turned away." The speaker bowed his head. "Give us time to consider," Celine nodded. "You will have it. But understand this. We did not come to ask for permission. We came to offer a future. The choice is yours." With that, she turned and walked back toward her ship. The massive vessel lifted silently into the air, rising higher and higher until it vanished into the black void. Only the faint shimmer of light remained, a pulse in the sky, steady and rhythmic. Thump, 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 the heartbeat of humanity. Far across the stars on the hidden world of Dawnfire Prime, billions watched the live broadcast. In the command chamber, Ether, the human AI, spoke softly. "Transmission complete." "The offer has been made," Celine's voice answered through the link, calm and certain. "Good. Now we wait. Let them decide who they truly are." The screen dimmed. The stars outside flickered once, like they were holding their breath. The galaxy waited. Weeks passed since the human envoy delivered her message. Worlds turned, suns burned, but the stars somehow felt different. Everywhere, beings whispered the same words. The humans made an offer. Some called it mercy. Others called it madness. But no one could deny the truth. The humans were no longer the same species that had once been exiled. In the vast chamber of the Galactic Council, debates raged endlessly. They seek control, shouted one alien. They seek unity, said another quietly. The speaker finally silenced them with a trembling hand. He had not slept in days. What if they truly have transcended? He whispered. What if exile made them gods? The hall fell silent, because deep inside they all feared the same thing. The humans hadn't just prepared. They had evolved. On the edge of the galaxy, a storm of light appeared. Not a weapon, not a fleet. Something else entirely. A living field of energy, stretching across millions of kilometers, glowing like dawn breaking through the void. Every scanner in the galaxy went blind. Every signal jammed. Then across every screen, every device, every mind, and came the voice. This is Project Dawnfire. This is what we became. The light expanded, revealing colossal structures. Not ships, not cities, but living energy constructs shaped like continents drifting in space. They pulsed with rhythm, each beat synchronized with a single familiar sound. Thump, 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 the heartbeat of humanity. In the council chamber, the image appeared in the air. The face of Ambassador Celine Ward, but no longer bound by flesh. Her body shimmered like starlight, her eyes twin galaxies. We were human, she said softly, her voice echoing across the cosmos. But exile forced us to understand what it means to be more. She lifted her hand, and the view changed, showing Earth. But it was no longer a single blue planet. The solar system itself had become a glowing web of energy, planets connected by luminous bridges, moons wrapped in orbiting cities of light. We learned to merge with our machines, with our stars, with our own souls. We became what you feared, and what we needed to be. An alien delegate cried out, trembling. What are you now? A weapon? A god? Celine smiled gently. Neither. We are what comes after fear. Behind her, the Dawnfire structures began to shift, forming vast patterns across the void, symbols no species could fully understand. Every translation AI failed. Every mathematical model broke, but every mind that looked upon it felt the same emotion. Hope. Selena continued. When you exiled us, we asked for mercy. You gave us silence. In that silence, we heard the voice of creation itself. The speaker stood, tears forming in his crystal eyes. Why tell us this now, he asked. Because our time in this form is ending, Celine said. We are ascending beyond matter, beyond light. Soon we will no longer walk among the stars. We will be the stars. Gasps filled the chamber. Selene looked at them one last time. But before we go, we leave you a gift. The Dawnfire core. It will keep your suns alive. It will heal your dying worlds. It will remind you that humanity did not vanish. We became something greater. Then, for the first time in millennia, every star in the sky pulsed in unison. One slow, powerful heartbeat. Thump, thump, and then light. Pure, endless light washed over every world. No destruction, no pain, just warmth. And the faint echo of human laughter in the background of the universe. When the light faded, the human fleets were gone. The energy fields vanished. Only silence remained. But above every world, a small point of light lingered, burning gently in the sky. When scientists tried to scan it, they found no energy signature, no radiation, only a message encoded in every wavelength. We were exiled. We did not beg. We prepared, and now we are eternal. Generations later, children of many races would look up at the night sky and point at that same glowing star. Their teachers would tell them, that is the light of humanity, the Dawnfire. They left us the stars. They left us hope. And far beyond, in the folds of dimensions no mind could reach, the consciousness of humanity watched over the galaxy they once called home, not as conquerors, not as exiles, but as the keepers of dawn.